They turned it on. That's good. I'm glad they didn't turn it on before we were talking. First of all, I'm happy to be here. Usually when you see me, I have a Trump supporter to my left or to my right. And today I don't. Hallelujah. So, but I really want to just take time to have maybe a little bit more of an honest conversation than what we're driving in the media. Most of the people in this room are people who have spent their entire lives, whether they're Republicans or Democrats or independents or libertarians. That part doesn't matter. What we have in common in this room is that we're people who give a damn. And there's really only two, we're people who give a damn. And there's really only two political parties in the country. There's the give a damn party and the don't give a damn party. And those of us in the give a damn party sometimes fight, but at least we care. And I believe something about this country that I think is getting lost. I think, number one, the left and the right in this country actually need each other. We actually need each other. I think we have forgotten that we're not enemies. We're actually a part of the same process of making a democracy work. And I also believe that breakdowns can lead to breakthroughs. And if you look at your own life, that's true. Some of the worst days of your life, when you lost that job, or you didn't get that scholarship, or you came home too early. You can laugh now, see? That's my point. That was a bad day. You look back 10 years later, thank God, right? You're in a better place. So I got somebody for that one. I don't know who it was. Touch your neighbor. Anyway. But that's true with countries as well. I don't care who you voted for. We're having a breakdown right now. And I think a breakthrough can be possible, but we have to deal with the truth. And the truth is always messy. It's not that one side's perfect and the other side's terrible and one side's, no, it's a lot more messy than that. So I want to tell you how I've been trying to use my television role to learn some stuff, and how I've been trying to use my charitable platform to do some stuff. But if I can only talk about one, I'd rather tell you what I'm learning. I've got a chance now to go to West Virginia. I've got a chance to go to the Arizona border. I've gotten a chance to go to Ohio, Michigan, red counties that voted for Trump in California. And I've also gone to Detroit. I've also gone to Flint, Michigan. I've also been in South Central. I've also been in Native American communities and reservations. I see the same thing everywhere I go. Poverty, addiction, a broken criminal justice system, and high death rates. That's what I see in West Virginia. That's what I see in South Central. Poverty, addiction, a broken criminal justice system, and high death rates. Common pain across the country. But common pain should lead to common purpose, and that's what's missing. Common purpose could lead to common projects, and common projects could lead to the return of common sense. And so that's my calling, and that's your calling. And we actually in this room have the opportunity to do something about it, but we've got to see this thing differently than we've been seeing it. The last time I went to jail, I love saying that, because we got some folks in here that are like, ah. But the last time I went to jail, I was not marching with Black Lives Matter in Oakland or marching with some liberal cause. I was marching with coal miners. Coal miners who had had their pensions stolen and their health care stolen by big coal companies that had promised them modest paychecks, but big pensions. So when they went down in those holes to keep the lights turned on for me and you, when they came back up, even if they were sick, Even if they had black lung, even if their bodies had been broken, they at least would have the dignity of being able to have a home that they can keep and see a doctor. And the coal companies broke those promises. As an environmentalist, I said, listen, sick, retired coal miners are not polluting anybody. But if coal companies were attacking a spotted owl, we would be there as environmentalists. They're attacking people. I've got to be there. So I went there. And what happened to me changed my life and my perspective, mainly because I thought I knew how to protest. I thought I knew what to do in a march. And so I got to the march. I come out the civil rights tradition. I come out the urban Oakland tradition. So I got there and I'm happy. And I'm like, okay, we're about to march. I'm so happy. I said, let me get my chance first. I'm going to put my chance out there, make sure they know I'm down. And so I'm like, all right, here we go. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what? That's a good chant. That's a good chant. That's straight from Oakland. So, and then I'm looking around, and nobody's chanting with me, which is kind of awkward. And I tried to get it going again, and nobody's chanting with me. And I'm like, okay, this is embarrassing. But then one of the wives of one of the coal miners came over to me. And she patted my shoulder. And she said, Van, don't take it personally. They can't chant. They can't chant. They have black lung disease. They don't have the lung capacity to chant or sing. And that's when I got it. So good men, strong men, broke their bodies trying to keep the lights turned on for me and you. And when they got thrown overboard, the NAACP didn't show up. National Organization for Women didn't show up. Van Jones didn't show up. The big enviros didn't show up. I don't care who they vote for. I don't care who they vote for. That's wrong. That's wrong. And what happened to just being there for people? What happened to just right and wrong? Not right and left, just right and wrong. Where'd that go? Where'd that go? So, I could tell you so many stories about families I met in Ohio who I disagree with politically. But I love those families. I'm still in touch with those families. And I want something good for those families. And we need a bipartisanship from below. We need a positive populism where people start coming together across these lines and just helping each other. And that's the work that I'm trying to do through the Dream Corps, which is where I get a chance to work. I reached out to a guy a few years ago named Newt Gingrich. See what I'm saying? I ain't even got to the point yet. People all of a sudden, they're like, Looking constipated. Newt and I had a TV show together called Crossfire, and we disagreed on every single point. In fact, the whole point of the show is that Newt and I don't agree on anything. But on the prison question, Newt, at a commercial break, said, why are you going so soft on prisons? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're going too soft. You're just talking about the racial issues. I said, well, it's a racial thing. That's your thing. It's a racial thing. I get that. But as a conservative, I see prisons as a massive, failed government bureaucracy that's wasting a ton of money and having worse outcomes every year with no accountability. As a conservative, I see prisons as gobbling up people's rights and liberties. As a conservative, I see the prison system as offering no redemption. I'm a conservative Christian. Where's the second chance? People leave a physical prison, they go into a social prison. They can't vote, they can't get a scholarship. Why are you going so soft on the prison system? As a conservative, I'm about to come out stronger than you. And I said, where you been all my life? You know? I was like, what are you doing after the show? You know? And we joined forces. And we started getting Republicans and Democrats in DC to work together on criminal justice. We're working together to get something done about this opioid crisis, this painkiller crisis. People don't understand. In the African-American community, we've been dealing with an addiction crisis and a bad response from the government for 30 years. It's now come to visit other communities. What people don't understand is that there are more people dying from painkiller opioid overdoses in this country than are dying from car crashes in America. More people died last year, accidental deaths last year from these painkillers, than were dying from AIDS at the height of the HIV crisis. This is all hitting in small town white America. The only group in America whose life expectancy is going in reverse, not getting longer, but getting shorter, white males. White males. Now, they're still going to outlive me, but the elevator's going in the wrong direction. That's the pain. And if you want to find out who voted for Trump, look at those counties where the death rate is going up for white men, the addiction rate is going up for white men, where the pain is present and the liberals weren't. That's where Trump outperformed Romney and everybody else, because hurt people will holler. Hurt people will holler. When Black Lives Matter hollers, I like the way that it sounds. When the Tea Party and Trump voters holler, I don't like the way that it sounds. My obligation, though, is to listen. We don't have to agree. Democracy means we don't have to agree. In fact, dictatorship means you have to agree. Democracy, you don't have to agree. That's called freedom. We like that. You have no obligation to agree, but you do have an obligation to try to understand. And my hope is that I can use the platform I have on television to just try to get more understanding. Common pain should lead to common purpose. Why can't we get African Americans who have been in South Central working on addiction issues for decades and put them on planes and take them to West Virginia and have people share sermons and share programs and help each other? You know, the tribal communities have gone through hell for 400 years, but they know how to stick together. Tribalism in that context means we're going to share and help each other. Tribalism in the rest of America means we're not even going to help our neighbor, but we're going to fight you. We have the worst kind of tribalism in the rest of America. I hate some Muslim I never met, or I'm mad at some white person who voted some way I never met, but I won't even help my neighbor across the street. That's the dumbest kind of tribalism I've ever heard of. Why don't we have Native Americans come to some of these small towns and share how they've been able to make a way out of no way? There is genius and wisdom in our country where the hurt has been for a long time. And now, rather than turning to each other, we're turning on each other. That is the big mistake. We don't have to vote the same way. We don't have to agree on foreign policy, but we should care about each other. And I'm calling for and working for, first of all, honest truth-telling. The truth is messy. If I ever tell you a story where I'm great and somebody else sucks, it just means I'm feeling triggered and guilty and mad. It doesn't mean I'm thinking clearly. And it doesn't mean that I've got the right answer. That's true if I'm talking about a friend or a political party or another country or another ethnic group. That's just a triggered state. We all get in those triggered states and things go black and white. Y'all look at me like, because y'all been in therapy too. I'm just saying. We have to start moving some of the wisdom from our personal lives, some of the wisdom from the things we've gone through in our own lives, out into some of these political spaces. So I'll say this in conclusion. When I say we need each other, this is not just an emotional, spiritual thing, though it's emotional and spiritual, and I don't apologize for that. It's also a deeply political, philosophical point about America. my conservative friends and allies I get a chance to work with and against believe in liberty. That's important. They believe in limited government. They believe in individual rights and liberty. They ask questions that I don't ask. They ask about any proposal. How much does this cost and who's going to pay for it? That's a good question. I never ask that question. I just say, feed the babies, that's not my thing. So it's good that they ask those questions. Liberals, progressives, we believe in justice. We say, hey, we're all for markets, everybody's for markets, but what about the big groups that run over the little groups? What about the strong groups that run over the weak groups? Can you have a great society if you only do the stuff that big corporations can make money off of? Right? If not, you got to intervene. You got to do something. We believe in justice. Well, guess what? If you only have justice, though, what I want, up with the masses and help all these people, whatever, and you don't give a damn about liberty. I don't care about your rights or your rights or your rights. I just care about the masses. You know what that is? It's totalitarianism. Justice without liberty is totalitarianism. That was the whole communist thing. And it was a nightmare. Same time, if you just want liberty, I'm gonna do whatever I want to, let me make my money, let me poison this river, let me exploit my workers, I just want liberty, I don't care about justice, you get a different type of tyranny. And that's a nightmare. And that's why our third graders are smarter than all of us. Because they want a country every morning with liberty and justice for all. What happened to that? Thank you very much.